what you guys had today.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, wonderful. Thank you for the business feasibility. So let's start off with the summary. What are we trying to achieve by today's session of personal branding and clarifying your why? Why is this important? What we're learning today is very important because we believe that a business is basically an extension of an individual. Your business is an extension of who you are as an individual. So our first session of today, before we go ahead and focus on marketing, market segmentation, costing, pricing, problem identification in our environment, solution bring about, before we go ahead and speak about, even personal branding, the first thing we need to know is that we need to firstly focus on the individual. We need to firstly focus on you as the business person, on you as the business individual. Why? Because having a strong sense of your why is crucial to building a successful business. So together, we will answer the following questions. After this session, we should have had the following question answered. Why is my business important to me? What are my beliefs as they relate to my business? And what does success look like to me? This in total will not only make marketing your business so much easier, but it will also help you establish the strong foundation that your business needs to grow. So today, we're not focusing on the business. Today, we're focusing on you as the individuals. So like I said, we're going to have a very interactive session. So feel free to questions if there are comments. And then at the end of my training session, I will give you guys an opportunity to ask questions. The mics will be unmuted for those who have questions. They will help raise their hands up and so forth. And at the end of the entire conversation session, we'll also have a homework where we will need you guys to respond, obviously according to the deadline that we're going to inform you about. Now, the first thing we're going to discuss today is why it is important to clarify your why before building your personal brand. All right, we'll just wait for the next slide to show forth. Why it is important to clarify your why before building your personal brand. All right. I'm just waiting for okay, good. Like we said, today we're going to focus on you as an individual. Now, every business person or every entrepreneur or any individual that aspires to be an entrepreneur, anybody that is an entrepreneur has to go through the fundamental process of finding their why. You have to know your why. Because in reality, before we even get into understanding, your why is your reason for existence. Your why is the reasons why you exist. As a young person, I know you will get to a stage. I know many of you guys are certainly at a level of high school or have left high school, but everybody gets to that place in their life where they ask themselves a question, why am I here? Why was I born? Why did God create me? I mean, some of us even go as far as to ask ourselves, why did God make me short? Why did God make me tall? Why am I dark? Why am I this? We always ask ourselves the question, why? Why? Because the question why is the question of understanding our reasons for existence. Now, the same way, whether you believe or not, the same way you are created for a reason, it is the same way that your business also has to have a why. There's a wonderful gentleman, he's a big entrepreneur. His name is Simon Sinek, and he speaks about the process of finding your why. And he talks about the importance of clarifying your why before you start marketing or communicating, or even before you start building your business. As an individual, there are two stages there are two whys that you need to answer. The first why is the why of your existence. there's a wise man that once said, there are 2 days of your birth. You are born on the day that you were born, and then you are born on the day that you discover your reason for living. There are many people in this life that are just existing. They are just here going with the flow, especially this generation, YOLO. You only live once. People are just living day by day. So you are born on the day of your birth, but you're also born on the day that you discover the reason for existence. So the first why you need to answer is the why of your reason for existence on this earth. And the second why you need to answer is the reasons for the existence of the business that you have in your mind, or the business you aspire to create. Right, I hope I'm being clear so far. This very fine gentleman, Sinek, also goes to he has these great sentences that he used, and he says, people don't buy what you do, but they buy why you do it. Every business that we have on earth, whether it be Checkers, whether it be ShopRite, whether it be, the Kasi shop in the corner, whether it be that Somalian shop, Spaza shop, every business has a why. And like Simon Sinek said, the truth is people don't buy what you do, but they buy why you do it. And I know it can be crazy because you're thinking of a product, you're thinking of a service, you think that's why you're selling. But in reality, your client, they don't really buy what you do, but they buy the why you do it. So if you want to inspire people to buy from you, to work with you, you need to be super clear about your why. You need to be clear about why you do what you do and why you believe in what you believe in. I'm hoping as I'm beginning this conversation that you're already thinking about your why, thinking about your why of existence, and you're thinking about your why for your business. And believe me, ladies and gentlemen, one thing I've learned about the why is that your why is your purpose. And oftentimes there are people, when we talk about purpose, there are people who discover their purpose immediately, but there are also some people who discover their purpose progressively. You don't always get it immediately. You don't always have it in the beginning, but it is important for you to begin to ask the question, why am I here? Why am I into business? Why am I doing what I'm doing? It is very important. Now, essentially, you can discover this understanding of your purpose by thinking back through your life to look at why things have happened and what impact they've had on you. Having the clarity of your why enables you to have a filter across everything that you do. You need to clarify your why. So one of the exercises I want to give you guys today at the end of the day, sit down with yourself and ask yourself these two whys, your why of existence and your why of venturing into business. So it's not only about your brand, but it's everything that you do and everything that you think. Does this feed into your why? It is important to discover your why, because once you discover your why, you then discover your how. If you don't know your why, you won't then discover your how, because your how has to relate and needs to feed into everything that you do. Now, secondly, your why also gives you huge motivation when things are not going well, when things become frustrating, when the business isn't moving you want it to move, when you begin to struggle with something, when things go wrong. It is important for you to have full clarity of your why, because your why always reminds you why you're doing this for. I mean, sometimes you would see husbands post their children and they'll say, these are the reasons why I work so hard. Because it happens to everybody that things go wrong or things become slow and you feel like giving up. But when you've got full clarity of your why, it helps you stay motivated. That those things may not be going right today, but because my why is clear, I keep pushing on, I keep pressing on until things get right. All right, I'm waiting for the next slide to show. I don't know why it's not showing on your side. The third thing that I want to also understand why it is important to clarify your why is that your why gives you the assurance that things are going to happen. Your why gives you the assurance that things are going to happen. And while you get there, just that clarity, that knowledge that your why is going to happen boosts your faith. It boosts your belief, because oftentimes when things don't go right, when things don't move at the pace that you want to, you begin to doubt yourself. You begin to lose faith in yourself. But clarity of your why assures you that it's going to happen. Nobody has ever had a clear why and continued pushing and saw themselves fail. It always happens. And of course, your why isn't just about your own motivation. So once you've got clarity on your why, you then know what you believe and why you do what you do, and that filters into everything that you do. You know, when you have clarity on your why, it even dictates the kind of clients that you want to work with. It dictates the kind of products that you want to create. It dictates your branding, your communication, your content. Like everything really is dictated by the clarification of your why. So your why is important. So I guess in the chat box, can somebody just write my why is important? Okay, I'm trying to move the slides. All right, are people interacting? Maybe just write, yes, I see. He said he wrote my why is important. Okay, that's good. And that's the first person. And you know, the last thing I want to say on why it's important to clarify your why before building your personal brand is because your why, it is important because if you are trying to distinguish yourself, having the clarity of your why, which is personal to you, is really a strong way of setting yourself apart from people. Sometimes we all do the same thing in business. Sometimes you all render the same service, but understanding your why and why you do what you do could be the key thing that distinguishes you from everybody else that does the very same thing that you do. You know, think about the people that you follow and why you follow them. Think about your social media influencers. Think about your role models. Think about the what you call them, the stars that you follow, that you admire. Why do you follow them? In reality, you follow them because they are unique. You know, think about your favorite music artist, your favorite R&B singer, your favorite rapper. There's many of them, but why do you like the one that you like, or you follow the one that you follow? It's because they are unique in their kind. Dear brothers, dear friends, I was about to go church on these people. Dear brothers and sisters in the Lord, dear candidates, may I inform you that the world doesn't need more generalists. The world is not looking for generalists. The world is in need of people that are specific in their product, specific in their why, specific in their reason of doing what they do. So you've got an idea you think is missing from the world. You've got an idea of what you think is missing in the world, and you want to fill that gap, right? That's awesome. But make sure that in your endeavor, or as you endeavor to become an entrepreneur, the idea that you have right now, make sure that you communicate it really well. And the best way to communicate what you have in your mind is by getting clear on your why. You have to get clear on your purpose. That's why I'm saying my challenge to you today is that you would sit back with yourself, take some time, and just think to yourself. These two questions, like I say, ladies and gentlemen, my why of existence and the why of the business that I want to venture into. Right now, I know some of you guys have a specific idea on the business you want to start. Some of you don't even have an idea. For those who don't have an idea of a business, and maybe your question is, how do I even begin to become an entrepreneur? How do I think entrepreneurship? Well, here is the first step. Start by asking yourself your why. Why am I here? Why am I here for? What is the why of my existence. And for those of you who are already in business or thinking of a business idea, the second question you ought to ask yourself is, why am I doing what I do? Or why do I want to do what I want to do? So ladies and gentlemen, it is important as you venture into business that you clarify your why before building anything else. It first starts with your why, then it all filters through everything else. I hope that was clear as we're about to move into something a little bit more interesting. Now, the next slide that I'm showing you, I hope it can show on your screen very clearly. It's about building first impressions. Now, I need you guys to interact here, all right? You guys certainly know this man. If you don't, just hit a quick Google now and find out. For those of you who know this man by the name of Donald Trump, tell me, what impression do you think most people have of this person? Or let's just go, oh, somebody's laughing, already laughing. Wow. Is that your impression of Donald Trump? Let me ask you, what's your first impression of Donald Trump? I want you just to type it down there. What's the first impression that you get about this man? I'm gonna read the first 5 people's comment. What's your first impression of Donald Trump? Why are people laughing? Or your first impression of Donald Trump is money. I like that. Okay. He's funny. Oh, okay. I didn't know that. Leadership skills, wonderful. What else? Business, wonderful. Presidency, being a leader, amazing. What else? Keep them coming.
Arrogant.
Arrogance, damn. Listen, that's okay. I didn't say arrogant. Arrogant. Whoa, there's more arrogant. He's arrogant. Oh my goodness. Pure political views. Wow, he's very strict. This is good. This is good. All right. I like that. Okay, in interest of time, he's very strict. We're going to pause there. So that's your first impression of Donald Trump, a leader, an arrogant man, political views, Now, let me go to something hopefully more favorable. What's your first impression of this fine young lady, Beyonce Knowles? I know that some of you guys know her. Oh, I see hearts for her now. Don't nice hearts. Okay, first impression, music. Round of applause. Talented. Come on, let's keep them coming. Greatest of all time musician. Amazing. A go-getter. Okay, let's go. He's very strict for Beyonce. Okay, I think these are comments coming from okay, perfectionist. Okay, hard work, a very hard worker, hardworking. Okay, because there's a lot of comments, please make sure that maybe now billionaire. Okay, cool, calm, and collected. She's living her life the way she like. Okay, music. Okay, next time when you comment, just write Beyonce or write Donald Trump and comment, because now it's different people. Hardworking. Okay, I see those comments. All right. Okay, I'm going to take that and we'll pause it from there. What's your impression of this next individual? I hope you guys know her. If you don't know her, at least you've heard about her. Okay, it's coming. Dun, 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 dun. There we go. What's your first impression of Mother Teresa? Anybody ever heard or ever who knows Mother Teresa? She's long gone. She died way before you and I were born, but I'm seeing hearts for her, so that's a good sign. What's your, okay, I see Mother Teresa, caring and faithful. Nice, she was a philanthropist. Great, I like that. Unati, Mother Teresa, where, great. Teresa, she's caring, beautiful, selfless, amazing, amazing. I'm glad. God-fearing, beautiful. Keep them coming. 2 more, Mother Teresa, caring. Next one. Caring and loving. Beautiful. Thank you guys so much for those feedback. I've got 3 more impressions that I want you guys to give your impressions on. So now we spoke about individuals. Now let's go to companies. What's your first impression that you get on a company like Coca-Cola? You should know Coca-Cola. Some of you might have the bottle in front of you now. What's your first impression about Coca-Cola? Successful brand. I like that.
Dominating.
Dominating. Okay. Next thing. I want to get more. Okay, Mother Teresa, care worker. Coca-Cola, big brand. Nice. Coca-Cola success. What else? 2 more comments for Coca-Cola. Consistent, unique. Do you know, as a matter of information, you know, Coca-Cola was asked the question, what's their biggest competitor? Coca-Cola said that their biggest competitor is water. They're competing against water. They want everybody to drink Coca-Cola like everybody drinks water. So that's what makes them such a big brand in the world. Very interesting. All right, so that's Coca-Cola. The next company, what's your first impression of this company? I hope you can see it. Sorry, we didn't do it much justice. I hope you know this brand. I mean, I know most of you are holding it right now. Marilyn. What's your impression of this company called Apple? Not the fruit apple, Steve Jobs' idea, okay? Apple quality product, good, good, good. Serves best quality camera, okay. Let's go. Apple best quality when it comes to camera. Sophisticated, better than Samsung and Windows. Wow, I don't want to start any arguments here. Intellectual operating system, device quality, beautiful. Okay, the last business. This one is more local. Let's go here. What's your first impression of Capitec? If not 99% of you, or 90% of you, what's your first impression of Capitec? 90% of you, I'm convinced, should be under or should have Capitec. What's your first impression of Capitec? Affordable bank. Capitec, very cheap charges. All right, cheap bank charges, successful company besides the bank side. Cheap bank charges, less bank charges. I see somebody putting a thumbs up. How? Bank charges. Somebody said taking care of the poor. Capitec, very popular. Wow. Somebody said inconvenience. Is that for Capitec? This person says Capitec, the only black card that declines. That's very interesting. Cheap bank charges. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much. You guys have been so fun, engaging. That's been awesome. Round of applause to yourself. So this exercise was all for the effort of leading to my next point of discussion. Your personal brand. Personal brand. Remember, today we're speaking about the importance of building your personal brand and clarifying your why. We did it a little bit in reverse. I felt it important to firstly speak about the importance of clarifying your why, because your why, understanding your why dictates everything that flows through. It is important to understand your why because then that dictates how you build your personal brand. What I want to speak about right now is your personal brand. Every individual that we saw as first impression and every company we discussed as first impression, all were in relation to building your brand. Your personal brand matters. And I want you to leave here understanding that your personal brand is very important. As an individual, you are not just an individual. You are not just a black young lady or a young white colored Indian or whatever it is that you are as, you know, a demographic. You are not just an employee, you're not just a youth, but you are actually a brand. As much as we know Coca-Cola to be a brand, Capitec a brand, you know, whatever it is, the Apple is a brand, may I inform you that you as an individual are a brand. And the personal brand that you carry as an individual is important. If you didn't know that you were a brand, I want you to be aware of it from today, that you are actually a brand. Now, what is my personal brand? In short, your personal brand is your reputation. It's what people think about you. You know, your reputation is what people think about you. I showed you the image of Donald Trump. You guys called him a great leader. Some of you guys called him an arrogant man. Some of you guys called him a political man. That is the reputation that Donald Trump has in the world. But may I also inform you that you also have a reputation, because each interaction that you have with other people has the opportunity to create a memorable experience, teaching them what they can expect from you. Each interaction that you have with someone is an opportunity to create a brand of yourself. I showed you an image of Beyonce. Some of you guys were like, a perfectionist. You saw music. That is the brand she carries. Now, may I ask you, what brand do you carry? When you're consistent in delivering certain experiences, you build a strong reputation. As a business person, as an entrepreneur, from today onwards, you need to become conscious of your brand. What brand do you have right now? What brand are you currently carrying? What do people say when they're speaking about you? What have people said to you when they spoke about you? Or how have people described you so far? Maybe you have not been conscious of it, but from today, may I challenge you to be more conscious of how you carry yourself, because you are a brand. More than often, people will do business with you just because of your brand. I kid you not. Those of you who said Donald Trump was an arrogant man, I promise you, if there was a business deal right now, some of you guys might not deal with him. If you had to choose him as a supplier as opposed to other people, you might not choose him. Why? Because the brand that you perceive that he conveys was that of an arrogant man, and nobody wants to work with an arrogant man. Now, delivering your brand clearly and consistently across a wide audience, being consistent in the deliveries of your brand with everybody can help open doors to opportunities. Your brand is, your brand becomes your personal calling card. It is a unique promise value. Your brand is what people knows you for. It's that one thing that distinguishes you. Your brand is that one thing that distinguishes the individual that you are. And in building a personal brand, you have to define your individuality, you have to maximize your strength, and you have to manage the choices now to create future opportunities. The brand that you carry can either open doors or it can shut doors for you. We've all had people in our lives where we say, yeah, he's intelligent, but his attitude sucks. Or she's brilliant, but the way she speaks isn't too nice. So, ladies and gentlemen, I'm giving you a lot of assignments today. The first one was to ask yourself two questions: your why of existence and your why of your business. The next question you need to ask yourself: what is my personal brand? Before I go to the next slide, some of the ways to discover if I just were to touch back on your why, some of the best ways to discover your why of existence is by asking yourself, what comes most easy for me to do? What is it about me that I find very easy to do that takes other people a lot of time to do? You may find that you are very good with your hands. You may find that you are very good with articulating, you're very good in communication. Maybe that's a way of understanding your why. A lot of businesses are built from what comes most easy for us to do. That is just in terms of recapping in terms of why. But even your brand, one of the best ways to discovering your brand, perhaps you don't know it yet, is maybe asking people around you, when you look at me, what's your first impression about me? Imagine just going home or maybe going to your family group and just put your picture there and ask everybody, please give me your first impression. But firstly, just make sure you are mentally prepared for that, because you could hear some bombs that you may not be ready to hear. But some of the best ways to discover your first impression is by asking people, what's your first impression of me? But also be honest enough with yourself by asking yourself, what impression do I give of myself? Or what impression do I have of myself? All right. Now, in discovering or building your personal brand, There are three things that you basically have to do. All right. The first thing is you have to define your X factor. Your X factor is that thing about you that is different from everybody. Your X factor is the thing in you that comes most easily to you, natural to you, that most people have to pay to be trained on, or have to be paid to be skilled on. You know, your X factor is the ability to unleash your super skill. People with strong brands are clear about who they are. They know and maximize their strength. Your X factor is your strong factor. What's that strong thing about you? What's that one thing that you want everybody to know about you? You know, there are three things you need to define in discovering your personal brand. Your X factor. Your second thing is understanding your why factor. We spoke about the why. Understanding your why factor is pivotal to designing a career plan that connects with your values, your passions, and your purpose. When you are living in alignment with your values and integrating your passion into what you do, you are excited, engaged, and totally unstoppable. So you have to define your why factor. Your why factor is your strength. You define your X factor. Your X factor is your strength factor. You define your Y factor, which is pivotal to building and designing your career. And the third one, apologies for this, it shouldn't have been your Y factor. It should have been your Z factor. Your Z factor, your Z factor. I see some of you have network problems. Sorry, we're going to fix that. Your next factor is not, the first one is your X factor. The second is your Y factor. The third one is not your Y factor. The third one should have been your Z factor. Your Z factor is about being a keeper and not being a sleeper. I was watching a movie yesterday. Well, I got a glimpse of a movie yesterday, and this woman was speaking to her friend at work, and she was telling her that her husband forgot about her birthday. And this colleague was so harsh as he said, he forgot about your birthday because you are forgettable. When you don't have an X factor, something that is strong about you, something that sticks out about you, it makes you easily forgettable. You want to be a keeper. You want to be unforgettable. So you need to understand, what is my Z factor? What is my one thing that I need to work on that makes me forgettable? Because personal branding is about standing out while being yourself most of the time. You need to be able to step up to stand out. You need to have an X factor that makes you unforgettable. And you need to do all things to understand, what is my Z factor? What is my weak factor that I need to work on so that I'm not forgettable? How will you tell your story? What impact will your presence make before you even say a word? How will you make sure that you are memorable? How will you remain yourself while putting your best foot forward? These are questions that you need to ask yourself. What will you do to create a network that will open doors to allow you to have to powerfully introduce yourself and stand out during an interview or during a business pitch? Because, dear ladies and gentlemen, oftentimes we are all pitching for the same services. We are all pitching for the same amount of work, but your X factor is what people remember the most. And it is important that when you present yourself before people, that you understand your Z factor, so you work to hide it, that it's not the one thing that people remember about you. All right. Now, a few things I want us to discuss when it comes to building your brand. When you're building your brand, the first thing you need to know is you need to soar with your strength. Easy English, when building a personal brand, focus on your strengths. When building a brand, let it be about focusing on your strengths. So you see, ladies and gentlemen, today we're doing a lot of internal diving. We're looking at ourselves as individuals as opposed to looking at the business. Sometimes when you get into these boot camps, we jump in so much into the business world, but we don't realize where the business is the person. We always look at the person first. So I'm hoping this session is really helping us to understand ourselves so that we can better understand our business. Because like I said, after this session, we no longer talk about us, but we talk about what we want to do as a business. So when you're building your personal brand, always focus on your strength. People with strong brands are clear about who they are. Coca-Cola is clear about who they are. Like you guys said, some of you guys said Coca-Cola is a strong brand. Why? Because they know and they maximize their strength. Now is your chance to uncover and discover the unique skills that make you stand out from the crowd. Right here, I only see about 62 and plus of you. And I don't know, by means of connection, normally there should be about 401 individual. All of you guys here are all after the same thing. You are all here to become entrepreneurs. But what is going to distinguish you from everybody else? What is it about you that will make you unique and stand out from all the other 401 candidates? Your strength. What is it about Coca-Cola that makes it stand out from Pepsi, stand out from Kingsley, or stand out from all the other, drink product? Or what is it about Apple that makes it so far stand out from Samsung, stand out even from Nokia? You guys know that they're not phones. What is it about them that has made them stand up today? Some of you guys say their quality. Some of you guys say the quality of their cameras. Apple now has 4 cameras or 3, but I see sometimes there's 6. But what makes their product stand out? It's the quality of their strength. They just chose to focus on their strength. So ladies and gentlemen, in building your personal brand, one of the first things that you have to do after understanding your X, your Y factors, you have to focus on your strength. Your strength is what you have to consistently uncover. Whenever you present yourself before people, when you present yourself in business, always uncover your strength, because it's what makes you stand out from the crowd. The second thing you have to do after you've understood your strength, like we said, your X factor, you also have to understand your Z factor. The next thing you have to do, you have to work on weakening your weaknesses. You have to weaken your weaknesses. What I mean, everyone has weaknesses. I put it there. Even Superman had a kryptonite. Superman, who was the Superman, strongest man. But I'm sure for you guys who watched the movie, there was this green particle from the land which he came from. It's called the kryptonite. It made him weak. Even Superman had his kryptonite. Everybody has a weakness. And I'm sure every superhero, every movie shows that every superhero has a weakness. Now, weaknesses might not simply be, things that you don't interest you, or areas where you aren't focused on in your energies, because after all, there's only so much you can do. But your weaknesses can range anywhere between something that is toxic to your dream. They can be a sign of lack of interest, lack of education or training, lack of capacity, or overused strength. You have to spend a lot of time. I challenge you today, go home, take a page and split it into 2. Write down all the things that you think are your strength, and write down all the things that you think are your weaknesses. And if you've got people that love you, that care about you, or people that give you positive criticism, ask them, please highlight to me some of the strength that you've seen in me, and highlight to me some of the weaknesses that you've seen in me. And it is important so that from the strength you build on it, because that's what you're going to use to build your brand. But from your strength, your weakness, be conscious of it so you can weaken it, because the truth of the matter is that exists without weaknesses. We all have weaknesses, but we have to be conscious of it. So we spend a lot of our time weakening it, but also spend majority of our time strengthening our strength. Your weaknesses sometimes can stem from, lack of interest, things that just are not your thing. Or your weakness could be lack of education or training. You decided to skip, important things, or lack of capacity. Those are weaknesses. But this one was very important for me to note down, especially as an entrepreneur, overusing your go-to strength, to the point where they serve as a detractor, or they serve as something that actually leads to your weakness. For example, you pride yourself on being flexible. but sometimes it can be perceived as, wishy-washy or indecisive, or sometimes I always find this sometimes also to be counterproductive for many people. I do believe serial entrepreneurship is great, but when you venture into business with the mind of serial entrepreneurship, I also find that to be a weakness, because now you become a jack of all trade, but a master of none. You will realize that every businessman that you always know him for something first, and then they always venture to other things. Apple was known for their small devices, and then they ventured into phones, and they ventured into many other things. Microsoft was known for, the product that they use, and then they ventured to add other things. Facebook was known for the social media platform, and now they ventured into different things. So I always find serial entrepreneurship to be a very, for people who begin business without having, an understanding of who they are from the beginning. All right. I'm going to take a pause there because I'm feeling with a lot of information. I want to make sure that we are all here. Are we all here? If we are all here, just somebody just type, my personal brand matters. I want to make sure you're still listening, and that your phone is not down and you're listening to music or you're cooking pap. I need someone else. Okay, I see you.
People responding.
All right, I want to see more people. Sorry? Because you are not, are you? All right, more people. My personal brand matters. All right.
Wants to be an entrepreneur.
She wants to be an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
All right. I didn't know. All right, I see you. I see you. I see a Fortunate wrote my personal brand matters. Nice. All right, great. So we spoke about, in building your personal brand, you need to focus on your strength. You need to weaken your weakness, but you also need to tap into your values. Ladies and gentlemen, you cannot separate values from brands. That's why, again, I started by saying you firstly have to clarify your why, because your why dictates everything. And oftentimes, why stems from your values. A good way to figure out what makes you tick is to look at your values. Think of them as your personal compass. Always give you direction to the choices that you make. Your values are very important in business. I remember one of my business coach, she was at one point in time hired by Jacob Zuma, and she led this big marketing campaign with the government at some point in time, and her values was incorruptibility. She said she did not accept bribes. She did not entertain bribes. And everybody that knew her, they knew that they would never go to her and try to corrupt her, because her values did not allow her to be so. In building your brand, you need to tap into your values, and you need to have strong values as an individual. And your values have to be non-negotiable. You can't be the kind of person who bends their values when they see money, or bend their values for a certain business opportunity. Now, all of a sudden, you're entertaining corruption. Now, all of a sudden, for the love of money, you're willing to do anything. No, your values are very important, and your values need to be conveyed even in your brand creation. Your brand will help you figure out which business to pursue, or deciding where to focus your time and your effort. If you are able to pursue activities and interests that are in line with your values and what's important to your core level, you will be less stressed. Sometimes your values can be hard to define until someone or something violates them. Sometimes you may not even know your values, but when they are violated, believe you me, you will know. If you need help to clarify your values, think about some of the most memorable conflicts that you've had in your life. Examine them closely, for the essence of what really bugged you. Like, what are the things that, you heard one day, or somebody say, or the government, that really, ticks you. It's very important. Think about those things. You'll be able to discover your values. So very important in building your brand, tap into your values. The fourth thing in building your brand that you need to do is you need to pursue your passion. All right, ladies and gentlemen, you have to pursue. What are you passionate about? What keeps you up at night? Maybe you are young right now, but now is the time to discover your passion. What are you passionate about? What keeps you up? What fuels your energy? You know, your passion is what fuels your action. Passion fuels action. You know, I'll say that again. Passion fuels action. Sometimes you don't get the money when you start the business. Sometimes things are slow, but you keep pushing because of passion. When you integrate your passion into what you do, you are more engaged. You can create a powerhouse of enthusiasm, engagement, and inspiration for those around you. Passion fuels your action. Passions can play a positive role at work as well as at play. They can re-energize you, allow your subconscious to work on a problem while you focus on something else, create connections, and improve your memory and your mental and emotional physical health. Guys, passion is important. You know, sometimes you can be in a career not for money. Sometimes you can be in a career not because it's making you millions, but it's passion. It doesn't make you millions, but it gives you joy because it's passion. I've seen people leave, you know, their $1 million paying job. I mean, as a matter of interest, you know, our group CEO, Mark Labner, always speaks about it, how he left his being paid job in the corporate space, but he decided to work for Africa to Cool, not because he was going to get money. He always says every end of the year, he meets up with his friends that get paid big bonuses because they work in big corporate job. And he doesn't experience those bonuses as a, you know, a group CEO of a nonprofit organization, but he's passionate about, you know, youth unemployment or youth empowerment, so much so that it fuels his action. So ladies and gentlemen, you need in personal branding, pursue your passion because your passion fuels your action. It's not always about the money, but it's about passion. And if you're like me, money is your passion. So, you know, passion fuels action. See, the fifth thing is defining your purpose. And again, defining your purpose goes back to what I started with. Your purpose is your why. Your purpose is, why am I here? In building your brand is also very important because you have to carry your brand in relation to your why. You know, the question that has no doubt rolled off the lips of many since the caveman moved from, you know, grunting to speaking is, why am I here? I remember there was a movie by Jackie Chan. I think it was done in South Africa. He was lost and he fell down and he met the Khoisan. And then they met him and they asked him, you know, who are you? And he was asking, who am I? Who am I? You know, Jackie Chan was lost. He forgot who he was, you know, and he kept asking himself, who am I? And the Khoisan thought that was his name. They started calling him, who am I? You know, so everybody gets to a place in life of asking themselves, who am I? And I think you are actually in a very fortunate position, ladies and gentlemen, to ask yourself, who am I and why am I here? Believe you me, once you know why you are here, once you discover your purpose. Hey, this somebody wrote, it's about money, but passion. No. It's about passion. Passion brings money. Believe you me, there are people who are making money, but they are not passionate. You want to be passionate about what you venture into as a business person. Believe you me. If making money is your passion, then that's your passion. Just make sure that you don't get so caught up in making money that that's all you make in life. You know, a wise man said, some people are so poor that all they have in life is money. It's a crazy statement to think that you'll be poor because all you have is money. But it's a reality because in life, we don't only need money. You know, somebody said, don't be so busy building to make money that you don't build relationship, you don't build families, you don't build friends. Because there come a point in life when you get to the top that you need to share, you know, with the people that you love the most, what you've made at the top. So don't lose that. It's important. All right, guys. Passion, your purpose is important, and your purpose dictates your actions. Your purpose dictates why you do what you choose. And, you know, exploring your purpose, you know, your purpose is your big picture. It's your internal vision of what you would like to achieve. You know, when you combine your clear values, engage your passion, and take on purpose action, you can follow your personal roadmap to the destination that you choose. Ladies and gentlemen, in building your personal brand, you have to explore your purpose. You see, it all really ties up together. Clarifying your why, building a personal brand, identifying your strength, highlighting your weaknesses, and, you know, defining your purpose. And like I said, some people discover their purpose early, but some people discover it gradually. And oftentimes it may change. Eventually, as you build it, you discover your purpose. All right. The last thing of building a brand is building a brand and making an impact. You know, giving back is outward expression of your values, passions, and purpose, and provides an opportunity to demonstrate your strength. You know, you don't just build a brand for the sake of building a brand. In this life, like I showed you guys the picture of Mother Teresa, some of you guys said, you know, your first impression of her was caring and selfless. You know, people always remember you for the good deeds that you did. That's why you will see most billionaires, most entrepreneurs have understood. As soon as they make the millions, the first thing that they do, they start philanthropy, because we must always build brands and give back. Always think about it. Tell yourself, one day when I make it, I must make it so I give back. You know, somebody once said something I didn't understand at first, because I thought crazy, but it begins to make sense the older I grow. He said, you know, when you start earning a lot, you must change your quality of giving. The more you make, must change your quality of giving. It's always about making an impact. You are here, you are sitting here because NYS wanted to make an impact. Africa Cocoon is all about making impact. So in building your brand, in building your business, build it in such a way that when you make it to the top, you are able to give back. All right. All right. I'm gonna pause there and make sure that everybody has had time to, yes, I see somebody wrote giving back to my community. Listen, build a brand to give back. Build a brand to give back. I want to take a pause here just to make sure that we are still aligned. You know, we've spoken about the why, we've spoken about the brand, and we want to speak about authenticity. I felt this was very important. It isn't the overall theme of what we're going to do, what we plan to discuss, but I just wanted to add this as an add-on because I felt it was very important. You know, so, and I don't even know what to ask you guys to type. Just take a break.
Stretch break.
You know, take a mind break, take a stretch break.
Well, here's a stretch break that will wake everyone up. That is, at least we know that if you've joined this week, you will definitely get data.
If you submit the homework.
Yes, because the information is on the homework. So once they put in the information on the homework, you will definitely get data. It's not been a situation of winning or top 10 or top 100 responses. Everyone who submits will get their free data next week. So make sure that when you get that homework link, you access it, complete the information on there so that you can get your portion and your data allocation. Okay, guys. I hope that breaks the voice a little bit. I know Claudia has been presenting for a while. And I hope that wakes everyone up a little bit. I'm so happy that everybody has managed to join today. And we really want to support you in building your businesses. Remember, at the end of this program, the successful guys will be a part of our entrepreneurship hub, which some of you will know, like our talent hub. Our entrepreneurship hub will be like an incubator so that your business can be supported, grown, and you have all the resources that you require to build a successful business. Always keep that end goal in mind.
Yeah. I don't see a round of applause. You guys don't like good news.
They do. You didn't see it, huh? You didn't see the hearts on the camera.
Just heart there. Yeah, that's more like those. That's okay. That's Akane. Akane, you confusing me. Yes. Are you gonna get data?
Data, okay, data, everyone.
I need to see those GIFs, man. People should be dancing, like
Get data.
Marilyn is being like Oprah here. Marilyn Oprah. Yes, everybody. But the trick is you have to complete the homework because the data is in the homework.
The data is in the homework. So you better give us your network in the homework, the
Yes.
provider using and your cell phone number. We will load your airtime or data directly onto that number.
Definitely. All right, thank you for that post. Thank you, Marilyn, for that. The last thing I wanted us to discuss is the word authenticity. So in the beginning, we spoke about the importance of clarifying your why. And then we spoke about your personal brand. And we asked about, first impressions. And, most of it, when you speak about personal brand, we said in short, it's basically your reputation. Your personal brand is what people say about you. But there's another discussion where we have, reputation is what people say about you, but integrity is, it's who you are when nobody's watching. There's a lot of definition on integrity. There's a lot of definition on, what it can be. My previous business coach, she defined integrity as doing what you say you will do when you say you will do it. But another definition for integrity on a more personal level, it's basically who you are when nobody's watching. Everybody can be anything when everybody's watching them. Some people can build a personal brand on a lie, but integrity is building a brand on who you are. And that's why I wanted us to talk about the importance of understanding the importance of being authentic. We're living in a generation where people are doing it for the gram. People are doing it for the show. People rent cars to take pictures in front of it. People go to businesses. People are doing it to be seen. But as a business person or as an aspiring business person, I want to encourage you in understanding your why, in building your brand. Make sure you build your brand as an authentic person. Living and acting in unison. Definition of authenticity is basically living and acting in unison with oneself as you have created. So what did I say? Living and acting in unison with oneself as you have created you. A story-free state of wholeness, origin, and passion and freedom. Wow, this is a lot of English, but to bring it down to us, authenticity is really just being true to yourself. Be true to yourself. Listen, rather lose a business opportunity because you didn't want to, deter or destroy your values than get an opportunity for the sake of money. And it goes against being true to yourself. Being authentic is always about being true to yourself. And authenticity is not something that you have or you don't have. It's actually something that you practice. It's a conscious choice of how you want to live. Always be true to yourself. I want to leave you with this final note. Be authentic. Build an authentic reputation. People must know you for who you are. And you remember what we said about personal branding? It's not what you occasionally are. It's who you consistently are. People don't remember you for what you occasionally do. People remember you for who you consistently are. If you're constantly late, people remember you for being a late comer. If you occasionally your time, they don't remember you for who you occasionally are. People remember you for who you consistently are. So even your reputation, it has nothing to do with who you are consistently. Because sometimes people will tell you, you are always coming late. Then you're like, but I'm early sometimes. No, you are known for what you consistently do. So may I challenge you to consistently be true to yourself, not your ego, but be true to your identity. Be true to yourself. And it's something that you're conscious about. Being authentic is a collection of choices that you have to make every day. When you have the opportunity to lie, steal, and kill, you choose that I will tell the truth. I will stand for the truth. Now, listen, the business world is great, but it's full with opportunity for corruption. It's full with the opportunity to do many uncomfortable things, but you have to choose to be true to yourself today. I'd rather lose money but be true to myself than gain money and lose myself. The good book quotes and says, why gain the whole world and lose your soul? It's not worth it. There's no amount of money to gain to lose your soul for. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I wanted to leave you on this fine, thoughtful note. Be your authentic self. As you decide to venture into business, be true to yourself. Now, there's a lot of things that is to be said about authenticity. I'll certainly share this slide, but I wanted to end it here because I don't want it to bombard you. I wanted to end off by this note, and I put it in capital letters. The more authentic you are, the better your life works. Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to thank you for participating in our very first session of our 6 weeks bootcamp. I hope this session was very informative. I like how we were all very much engaging. I hope you learned something today. I hope I've given you something to think about. I hope you're going to go. Listen, this is going to be 6 weeks. Every Friday, we're going to be meeting same time, 10 to 12, and we're going to be learning. Now, it is often said that knowledge is power, but what good is knowledge that is not applied? Knowledge is power, but applied knowledge is better. Everything that you've learned from today, take it, apply it. Take some time between now until we meet again. This is going to be a building puzzle. We are building you to becoming an entrepreneur. We are building you to building a brand. So we're going to be going through this on a weekly basis. So everything that we learn, please make sure you apply it in your own daily living. I thank you, and off to question sessions. Now, before we get to questions, there is going to be a homework that is going to be sent to you. This homework is very important that you answer them. You have to give us the homework latest by Tuesday, 5 p.m. because we will need time to go through it. You can even answer the homework as soon as you get it today. And like Marilyn says, for everybody that will answer this homework honestly and completely, you're going to get free data. Some of you guys here today said you are struggling with connection, you're struggling with, getting joined because, had realities. But next week, we are going to buy you data that you're going to have enough to join the next session and even enough to go on Instagram and go on Facebook and TikTok. So please make sure you respond. Those homework is actually going to help us to help you in helping you becoming a fully fledged entrepreneur. There's going to be a very important question that you're going to answer in that homework. Questions like, what does success look like for me? And there's going to be a very important question that I really particularly want you to answer. The question of identifying problems in your environment that you could potentially turn into a business. So look out for the link of the homework that will be sent to you by Akane. Answer them. The last person must send it to us Tuesday, 5 p.m. And as soon as you send that homework, before next week, Friday, you will have data in your phone or on your laptop. I thank you once again. Over to you for your questions.
Thank you, Claudie. So if you have any questions, you can either type it in the chat box or you can raise your hand. And remember, when you raise your hand, I'm going to enable your mic, and then you have to unmute yourself to ask the question that you have. So let's take it away. Any questions? Because I've allowed your mic. You can unmute.
Morning, how are you?
Good, thank you.
Good.
Okay, my question is, are we going to get the recordings of this webinar? Is that
yes,
possible?
Yes, you are. Yes,
Okay.
it is. So when we send the homework, we'll also send the link for the for this meeting, the recording of the meeting.
Yes.
Okay.
So
Okay. Thank you very much.
Just to give everyone a bit more information on that, I was going to touch on it right at the end. We are recording all the sessions that we are having for the boot camp, so that if you're not able to join between the time that we have the live session, you can also view the video later on and still complete the homework, and we still count you towards having participated. Therefore, the same prices that apply to the people who join the live session will also apply to the people who don't, and also watch the video and complete the homework. So we understand we're living in a time and an age where we have load shedding and network problems. That's why we will make this video available. And we'll also make last week's video available that comes from the Entrepreneurship 101 session. So we're going to have like a YouTube channel where all of the videos will be stored and saved, and you can access them anytime at your convenience. And you can go through the material as many times as you need to. Take notes and ask questions. Even next week, you can ask questions that may come up when you watch the videos and refer back to the same material. So it is interactive, and we're hoping that we are building on a week-to-week basis on the information that we share.
Okay, excellent. Thanks.
All right. Thank you, Tokozani.
Right.
Jabulani, I'm going to enable your mic. Please unmute to ask your question. Jabulani, you can unmute your mic.
Okay, thank you, sisters. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay, so I wanted to ask, because I'm not sure about others, but some of us already had like companies registered and stuff, but then of course we were struggling. Are we still be able to get help from you guys, or is it something we need to go through again and again, or are we gonna pick up from where we are?
Jabulani, I get this question every session.
Yes.
Like I said, the journey is to help you guys become fully fledged, sustainable businesses. All right. So if you already have a business that is not succeeding, like it's a 6 weeks boot camp, we have to start with everybody from zero. Those who don't have businesses, those who are thinking to have businesses, and those already have businesses. So we're starting from zero, but as we go on for the next 3 weeks, we're going to build up with things that are going to help everybody on every level. So the aim is to get everybody at one level and build them up to every level. So you will see, even today, I believe there are things we shared that were important, that helped you, or that served as reminder. And going forward, there are going to be things that we're going to teach that are going to help you enable to build your business going forward. So yes, we will support those who don't have businesses, those that are thinking of businesses, those that have businesses that are not succeeding, or those that have businesses that need to succeed. So yeah, it's for everybody.
Okay, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jabulani. Caroline, I've allowed your mic. Please unmute yourself to ask your question.
Hi, everyone. I would like to ask this regarding the questions and the homeworks. With the homework, are you going to send us through emails or cell phones that we provided? And another question, I have a registered business. I would like to know regarding the SARS. We are struggling to register with SARS. When you go there, they will tell you need to book and stuff like that. Are you able to assist us regarding that to get more information? How should we do that? Thank you.
Regarding SARS, to register your company on CIPC?
I'm done with CIPC. What is short is like to update all the details with SARS, and again, the tax returns.
Yeah, no, that's a good question. So one of the incentives that we've already put in place, that's why you need to make sure that you're part of the training until the end, is we have an incentives of full corporate governance support. You know, at a later stage, some of you guys are going to win. There's going to be an accounting business that will help you guys with all your tax, you know, needs, your pay as you earned, your UIF, your B affidavit. So there's going to be all of that that we're going to help you with the support of a fully fledged accounting company that will help you. But that is obviously subject up until if you get to the end of the training. So stick through the end and you'll get support.
Thank you for that. And the first question you didn't answer, which is you will send us the homework through the cell phone number or emails.
Can you please advise?
We're going to send it on both email and SMSs.
Oh, thank you very much.
So for those, because going forward, when we ask you for your email, please make sure that you give us the correct email. Because then if we're going to send you information through email, then it bounces back and then you don't receive the email. So that is why we're going to send both on email and SMS to make sure that everybody gets the homework.
Yeah, and the homework, guys, will be in the form of a link. So when you click on the link, it'll redirect you to either a Google Forms or a Microsoft Forms, where you'll have to just put in your responses in the format of like a answer question, and then you just submit it at the end. We will get all the responses on our side. So please make sure that you complete and submit. And if you have any issues or queries, please do reach out to Akane or to the supervisors you used to work with when you were on NYS program, and we will assist you as much as we possibly can. Thank you.
All right, I see there's a question typed by Fortunate. What is business feasibility? So business feasibility in simple English is basically okay, just in simple English, is basically looking at a business idea in detail to determine if that business idea will work or not. So it's looking at a business idea that you have in detail. For example, you have a business idea to run a spazio shop. It's looking at that idea in detail to see, is it going to be viable? Is it a working idea? Could it work into being a business or could it not? So it's really, really, really looking at a business in detail to determine its success or not. All right.
Thank you. We have Abraham Shrowe. I'm going to allow your mic. You can unmute and ask your question. Abraham Shrowe, I've unmuted your mic. You can ask your question. If you're struggling to unmute, you just click on the mic and then it will unmute you. I think Abraham Shrowe is struggling to unmute or something. Does anyone else have any other questions? You can type them in the chat box or you can raise your hand. Abraham Shrowe, I have unmuted your mic. You can ask your question.
Okay. It seems he tapped by mistake.
All right. I will disable.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, seems that we're out of questions. Thank you so much for participating. We look forward to all your responses in terms of the homework and look forward to having you here again next week, same time, same place. If that's all.
That's all. Are you falling asleep, Jody?
No. Next
Energy.
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 Energy. All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you.
Thank you, guys.
From me, Marilyn, and Akane, it's peace and love.
Peace, love, and see you next week. All the best with the homework, guys. Make sure you complete and submit Tuesday. end of day.
Yes.
Wednesday morning, we're gonna check and close it, and then you won't get your data
Yes.
and we won't get your responses. Okay, thank you ever so much. Enjoy your long weekend.
Thank
Yes.
you.
And
Bye.
see you at the strike or not.
Yeah.